Hello, and welcome to the Kosh. I'm your host, Timber Smith, and the Kosh is a podcast that spotlights people who've had an association with the Kosh or the surrounding Fox Cities area. Hey, Kosh listeners, how are you doing? Yes, it's another wonderful weekend morning, but there was a fog alert this morning. And I don't know about you, but fog creeps me out. Like, I don't be feeling fog because you can't see nothing. And I like to see what's coming. It kind of paranoids me a little bit. So may the fog disappear quickly, but I don't think we're getting any sun today. So it's going to be a little dreary. And we're only a couple of days away from Christmas. And the one thing it doesn't seem like we're going to have is snow. So for all you people who are out there, like, oh my God, I wish that we would. No, I don't. Not at all. I'm good. I'm good with a dry Christmas. I'm good with a non-white Christmas. So you can hold it against me if you want. And I ain't mad at you that you prefer white Christmas. But nah, snow, let's hold off. If we don't get our first snow until the end of February or maybe the beginning of March, I would not be disappointed at all by that. I look at snow as a 4-letter word, along with the many others that we have in life. So that's how I look at it. But, all right, you know what I'm going to say. So I don't know how I continue to get all of these amazing guests here on the Kosh. And this week is no different. And I'm really excited about this conversation with this individual. And so, without further ado, this week's guest is Trevor Fenrich. What's going on, Trevor?
What's going on?
How are you doing today?
I'm pretty well.
Yeah?
Embracing the fog as well.
Yeah? How you feel about fog?
Well, it's fog. Like it's difficult to see through.
It's fog.
And I took Hazel on my way up over here.
Okay.
And so being right next to the lake, it was pretty thick.
Yeah.
And when I think about like a white Christmas, that's not what I envisioned. Was a foggy white Christmas.
Foggy white Christmas.
Yeah.
Well, it's just foggy. There's no white in this Christmas.
Well,
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, we could get surprised.
We won't.
No, you don't think so?
That's okay.
All right. I would take, you know what? I will go back and take back a little bit of what I'll say. I'll take a dusting. Like that light dusting that I never have to get out and shovel and it'll melt like within an hour. Like just so we can look out the window and say, oh my God, it snowed, and then I'm good.
Yes, I can agree with that completely. Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, if it doesn't require manual labor, I'm all about that.
For sure.
All right. Okay, you ready to jump in?
Let's do it.
Okay, so Trevor, can you please share a little something about yourself and your connection to the Kosh and the surrounding Fox Cities area?
Sure. Yeah. Well, I am an Oshkosh native, born and raised. So I...
Bruh.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a thing. And I just haven't been able to get away. Here I am. Here I sit. And I love this community. I love being a part of this community and just this area in general. So, there's a few things I do professionally. I work for Solutions Recovery, Inc. here in Oshkosh. I'm the executive director over there. And then I do a variety of volunteer work throughout the community.
Wait, what is Solutions Recovery, Inc.?
Solutions Recovery, Inc. is a nonprofit recovery community organization. So there's a few different things that we do. We focus on having our recovery community center, which we're actually adding a 3,000 square foot addition onto right now, and it should be done in the next few weeks. So that's really exciting.
Oh, wait. Okay. Is that the place that's located down Bowen?
On Evans, yeah. Evans and Parkway and Bowen there too.
Yeah. I've been driving by, and I was like, I'm watching them put on a new front to that.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize, okay,
Yep.
That's cool.
Yeah. So that's one of the things that we do. And then we've also got sober living or transitional living attached with that. And so we've got 8 homes throughout the city that folks go through and work to transition their lives essentially and start over after maybe going to treatment or maybe being in a secured facility, something like that. So that's another aspect of solutions. And then We've got our fairly new program, which is like a 24/7 peer response team. So basically, folks with lived experience with substance use are available 24/7 to do any number of things. Scene response. So we have many community partners: Oshkosh Police Department, Oshkosh Fire Department, the Winnebago County Sheriff's Office. And we meet people at their most vulnerable, desperate times, and we help connect them to resources in that moment.
Yeah. I mean, you ain't lying. I mean, if you're at that point, but if you are actually at the point of going to somewhere to get recovery, that's got to be on the upswing. I think.
Usually, yes. The one exception to that. So, and maybe I should have led with this, but I'm also a person in long-term recovery. So, all of us that work at Solutions are folks with lived experience. So that's one awesome aspect, and also allows us to relate to people relate and connect on quite a different level,
right?
Than maybe a professional would be able to connect with somebody.
I think a huge part about it is like you could really meet people where they're at, and maybe without some of the myths or judgments associated with it.
Correct.
Right? Because I do think there's a lot of that ends up happening. Maybe I'm wrong.
No, not at all. And I mean, that's as somebody in the field for a period of time, it's easy to become jaded just in general when you're seeing the same thing. And the disease of addiction really creates that separation, that stigma, where it's like you're stuck in a cycle and you can't get out of it, and you keep doing these things. Maybe you keep getting visits from the local EMS department or the police, and those people are seeing you over and over again, and they don't see the other side, which is thankfully what I get to see on a regular basis is kind of both sides, but a lot of the side of recovery, which is really, really powerful.
Right. Because, I mean, I'm going to assume, and it is an assumption because I don't know, that like it's not likely that you're going to get it right the first time.
Correct.
It just seems like
I tried to get it right a few times.
I think everybody tries to get it right a few times, like no matter what it is, right? If you're making a huge life change, you're lucky if you can get it right the first time. But something like that, where you're coming out of what I would call probably one of the most challenging points in one's life, and then being in a really vulnerable state, and then you're trying to make changes for your future. I'm going to guess not going to get it right the first time.
It's a complete life change. You're literally changing everything. And that was hard for me to get.
Yeah.
Initially. So that's a piece of it.
Okay. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, of course.
What else? You said you volunteer in some other places. Where else are you giving time in the community?
So I'm a first responder for the town of Oshkosh Fire Department. So I provide EMS care to folks. It's volunteer on call. So kind of whenever there's a call, if I'm available, I'll go. So that's one area that I'm really passionate about. I do a couple different things down here at the day-by-day shelter. So I do provide a fair amount of volunteer time, and I'm also their IT contractor. So, yeah.
You're that dude.
I'm a nerd.
Hey.
Yeah. I'm loving this screen that you got behind you there. That's a nice screen.
Hey, look. This is
the thing I noticed.
Look, nerd to nerd. Like, I'm about that life.
I promise you. I'll have to...
I'm just saying.
No, I know. I am too. So if time allows, I'll show you so I also work for Gold Cross Ambulance in Menasha.
Oh, okay.
So in my free time,
What free time? You just told me you got 4 jobs.
Yeah.
And you volunteer.
Yeah. So I occasionally work on an ambulance or I work in their dispatch center, and that's what I'll show you a picture of later. We just got a brand new dispatch center. And the screens and the technology is it's fun.
Oh, yeah. Hey, look, I am all about some good monitors. Like, people always think it's like the computers. Yeah, it's you got to have something that's functional and has some speed and doesn't get hung up, but you got to have some good monitors.
You do.
Like, that's everything.
Yeah.
And if you haven't had a chance to be a guest here on the Kosh yet, what Trevor was referencing is I do have a 49-inch wide screen that is what I would call a techie's happiness.
It's a necessity.
It's nice to have. But you know what? I'm not going to lie. Since I had gotten it, I would almost rather have two 27s. And the only reason I say that is because it is not as easy. Like, I basically can put three screens on at one time, right? But it's not as easy to break them apart and line up your different windows like the way you would think you would want to. But it's really nice in other ways because then I'm only using like one port on the computer to be able to have this much screen width. And it's really nice for like audio and video editing because I can lay out a whole strip of things. That's where the happiness.
That's really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No doubt.
But I can also understand the functionality issue of trying to troubleshoot getting each window just right.
Yeah.
There should be an automatic thing where you just drag it to the top and it breaks it, evenly or however you want to do it.
Wait,
right?
It does that for the sides, right? You can drag it to the sides and it'll break, and then you got to drag the other one to the side and breaks. But sometimes that works, and then sometimes, Windows is not always the most intuitive
for sure
thing there is.
They do their best.
They do their really.
I think so.
I'll give them credit. Like I'm not mad at Windows. They've done decent by me for a long, long time.
For sure.
Okay, that is a lot of. You're busy.
Yes. Yeah, I do a fair amount of things.
Yeah,
and it's all stuff that I love. I don't know. I spent a lot of time in my life not being a productive member of society. Kind of taking, there was a fair amount of darkness in my life for a period of time. So I've really been able to sort of make up for that in the second chance at life that I've been given. So with that, there's a lot of things that I'm passionate about. Some would argue that maybe I struggle with balance, and maybe that's a thing, probably a little bit, but I think it's gotten better too. I think it's gotten better from what it was.
All right. That's fair.
Yeah.
You're still figuring it out.
Yeah.
You just said it's every day.
Every day.
Every day.
Yeah. And that's all right.
No, I think that's everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, we all have our quirks, and I think we deal with them every day. So I think that's fair. I love that assessment. Okay. Well, you ready to jump into the first segment?
I am.
The first segment is called What in the World is Going On With? And that's where you start with the phrase, what in the world? And then you tell us what's on your mind. So, Trevor, what's on your mind?
Yeah. So what in the world is going on with people that don't return their shopping carts?
Ooh, bruh. Facts.
Right? So I'll be the first to admit that I regularly don't go to the store anymore. There are opportunities to not go to the store, and that is one of the banes of my existence, is going shopping just in general. So I do everything I can do to not go to the store.
Oh, that is so funny.
Yeah.
I actually feel that a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
but why the cart thing? I mean,
when I do have to go to the store, there's so many carts everywhere in the parking lot. And so I worked at Festival Foods here in Oshkosh. That was my first job.
Okay.
And I was a cart pusher for part of that. I did a couple things there, but one of them was running carts. And I just remember in the winter, and I feel like it wasn't even that bad then. And now it's just, there's carts everywhere all the time.
Yeah, I feel like you're traumatized.
Maybe a little bit. I don't know, that was quite a job.
Oh,
At least they had the automatic machine that followed behind you.
yeah,
over
to
there.
help keep the carts together.
Yeah, that was really nice.
That thing's cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was, and it usually worked. In the winter, you'd have to use a little bit less. I think the max was like 25 carts on that thing back in the day. You know,
I'm not gonna lie. I think Aldi's has the most ingenious cart returning system, and it is funny for a person to get their quarterback, they will walk 2 miles.
that's a really good point.
Like seriously, like they could be clear across a parking lot. Heck, they could be in the next parking lot, and to get their quarterback, they will walk that cart back because it's all about getting that quarterback. And you can't tell me that it makes too much sense.
It does make a lot of sense, and I think that's the move.
It tells you a lot about who we are as humans.
It tells you a lot about who anyone is when. So it's one of those things. I saw it on social media, and I'm not on social media a whole ton, but I think when it really tells you something about somebody when they don't take their cart back. It's like how somebody treats a server at a restaurant or something. You know what I mean? Like
you say it's all tied in.
I don't know. I think it's a piece of it.
All right, that's fair.
And it's about being kind, you know, like not being selfish to an extent, right?
I just look at it as social responsibility.
Yeah.
Like, seriously, like, okay, we have understandings. There's cards that now the place has done, you know, most shopping environments or organizations have done everything they can to try to make it as convenient as possible, right? Put multiple cart hubs around where you can throw your cart in and all of that, and it's pretty simple and easy. Well, you're within, to me, you're never more than 4 cars away from one, more or less. So you just gotta 4 cart over, unless you're like at some place that really doesn't have many at all, like a Piggly Wiggly or something, right?
Yeah.
Which I get that.
Yeah.
Smaller grocer, not a big deal. But I am with you. Take your cart back.
Take your cart back. And I'll grab one on my way in, typically, if I can.
I would too if I saw it.
Yeah.
But I'm really more like, I don't understand why more places haven't just taken the Aldi's approach. Because you know what you never see in Aldi's? A loose cart.
Ever. It's not a thing. It doesn't exist.
Does not exist.
It's a really good point.
You know why? Because even if the person didn't take it, someone else is going to take it back to get their quarter.
They're getting that quarter. Somebody else's quarter. I'm getting it.
I did see? See? So it's ingenious.
It's a free cart then.
Yeah.
You're getting paid to use a cart.
Right? I never thought of it that way, but you are right. Man,
Bruh.
That's a win.
Yeah. We're on to something here.
We're on to something.
I wonder how much you could make in a day for people that don't take their carts back at Aldi. And you just sit in your car and wait for people to not take their carts back.
We might have just created a profession. Someone might just decide that they're going to sit in Aldi's and be the cart taker backer. Oh, let me just take your cart back. I'm going to keep that quarter, but I'm going to take your cart back for you.
Yeah, let me get that.
Let me get that. You know? I mean, seriously, if you think about it, you can make several dollars an hour.
You could.
I mean, it is a quarter.
Especially this time of year. There's a lot of movement over it.
There's a lot of movement.
Yeah.
Yeah, now that I'm thinking about it, if you took a cart back every two minutes, maybe every minute even, during this time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like it.
All right.
Okay. What in the world is going on with is it's not as simple, but I'm just going to say, what in the world is going on with loose dogs in the neighborhood?
Bruh.
Okay. Now, this has a story associated with it because, and the Kosh listeners, you know, I'm going to tell this story the way this went down because we have a saying on my block. There's never a dull moment on Otter Ave. Yeah, there just isn't. Otter Ave is about that life. Like there's things that happen here on Otter Ave.
Let me tell you something about myself, all right?
Yeah.
I spent a lot of time in a few houses on Otter Ave. All right? That's what I'm going to tell you.
Yeah, that's what you're going to tell me? Yeah. Otter Ave, there's never a dull moment on Otter Ave. But I love Otter Ave. Yeah. We've lived here forever, right? And I love it because, to me, it is the ultimate working man's neighborhood. People mind their business. Don't nobody bother nobody. The people are pretty nice. right?
Mm-hmm.
So there, I was sitting here chilling, and then my wife calls me. Right now, my wife has different levels of calling me. There's just calling me, and then there's a little heightened, and then there's full fledged panic. Call my name, right? Timber. So I jump up and I run to the porch, and I'm like, what? Right? And I started looking around because that means there's a certain level of it that just tells me something is happening in the neighborhood, and I could tell she was calling me from the porch. So I get up, run up, go look out. There is a loose German Shepherd, right? And he wasn't looking crazy or anything like that, but he was loose, right? Now, my only problem with loose dogs, because if y'all don't know, you know I love dogs because Bosco the podcast dog is about that life. But that is the reason we worry about loose dogs now, because for whatever reason, even though Bosco is 100% about that life, he is not a big dude. And so the big German Shepherd dude, you know, and you know, it's that thing like Bosco's that little fearless dude. He's got little man syndrome. So he's totally going to go mess with the big dog, right? So I always worry about big dogs on the loose. Some big dogs are super kind, and some are like, look, little dude, you're going to have to leave me alone right now. I'm not about that. And then they try to put their paw on his back, right? So anyway, German Shepherd's running around, right? And we're watching, and she's like, hey, German Shepherd's running around. Whose dog is it, right? Now, we also tend to know everybody's dog up and down the block more or less because you see everybody walking their dog at some point, right? So after a while, you know who's who and what not. But there are a few new people that have moved in on the block. So German Shepherd's loose. Wife's trying to figure out what's going on. And then we don't know. Like, we're like, should we go grab it? Because it seemed friendly. But then again, you don't know, right? She was like, I don't know if we should mess with this or not. So, like true fashion, and Kosh listeners, if you've listened to other episodes, you know that my wife has a partner in crime across the street who is Gwen. Gwen is that neighbor. Gwen is a dog whisperer, right? And also my wife's partner in crime. So she calls Gwen. She's like, hey, Gwen, do you see the loose German Shepherd? Gwen's like, I'm not home yet, but I'm on my way home. She's like, well, there's a loose German Shepherd. Gwen's like, keep an eye on the German Shepherd. I think I might know whose dog it could be. It could be this house or this house or this house, right? So now, if that doesn't tell you about who Gwen is, Gwen's all about, I'm going to go figure out whose dog this is, and we're going to get the dog back. Now, in the meantime, other neighbors have come out and peeked out their house, and the cops have come. So now the cops are sitting outside looking at the German Shepherd. The German Shepherd's kind of meandering between about 4 to 5 different houses, right? So the cop is not engaging the German Shepherd. He is kind of like, I think I'm going to leave him alone. And I think he got out of his car, and the German Shepherd growled a little bit. And he was like, well, you know what? I'm going to go back in my car.
It's not that serious.
I'm just going to go ahead and let him do what he going to do. I'm just going to make sure he good. Make sure don't nobody else have any problems, right? And saw some other neighbors peeking out the door and whatnot, right? All right. So, dog's bouncing between 3, 4, 5 houses, doing German Shepherd stuff. Gwen rolls up. Wife's keeping an eye on the porch, too. They're communicating. Gwen's like, hey. She jumps out her truck, and she's heading towards the German Shepherd. The cop stops her. Hey, who are you? He's like, hey, I'm the neighbor. Okay. I think I know whose dog this is. All right. I think we're going to try to leash him. All right. Now, the cop's letting this all go down. Yeah, this is interesting, right? So, and there's all his other neighbors are all looking out the door. So my wife then is like, all right, this is her. My wife is Gwen's partner in crime and vice versa. So she grabs a leash and is heading out to go give Gwen a leash so we can leash the German Shepherd because we think he knows whose dog it might be. Right now, it's cold, but it's not freezing cold. But we couldn't just leave old dude out there forever, right? Not only, so Gwen goes, wife goes to give Gwen the leash. Gwen's like, nope, he's not friendly enough. We can't leash him. Because at that point, German Shepherd growled at her too. He was like, nah, bro, not today.
The dog whisperer couldn't do it.
Dog whisperer couldn't, well, not that. Couldn't do that. But there was this vibe going on, right? So, all right. So, once again, you got neighbors. You got the cop watching all this happening. My wife is on her way back home with the leash because Gwen said no. But Gwen is still here. Putting the mastery onto the dog, right?
Okay.
We figure out whose house it is that the dog came from. And they're not home. So what Gwen does, and the cop's sitting here watching, Gwen knocks at the door. Nobody comes, right? She then checks the door. Front door. It's open, right? Opens the door, yells in there, hey, anybody home? Anybody home? No one's home. Don't know how the dog got out the house. So Gwen says, get in there. German Shepherd goes, jumps in the door. He's gone. Close the door.
Forget about it. Hopefully.
Well, here is the trickier thing. There's like 3 German Shepherds on our block. We weren't 100% sure that it was the right dog to the right house. You know.
Yeah.
But
it seemed logical that the dog went in there, though.
Right. And that was what the dog whisperer Gwen said, is like, there's probably a very slim chance that he's going to go in a house that's not his house.
Right.
And he was really happy to go into the house. And he kept coming back to that house as he went through his 5-house span.
Sure. Well, that makes sense.
So he goes in the house. Gwen closes the door. And the cop's like, thanks. And all is good on Otter Ave. Never a dull moment.
Never a dull moment.
Now think about that, though. Now, I had to die laughing because to think about all of the things that happened for that to happen is wild.
And like what happened if there's no Gwen?
I don't know. That it's a cold dog.
Does animal control get involved at that point?
I'm thinking animal control probably would have had to be getting around. But in this case, this dude got to go back to the crib. Now, to be fair, the owners did eventually show up. And that's all we know. We just saw him pull in the driveway maybe 30 minutes to an hour later. I'm assuming the police probably did reach out to them. And according to law enforcement, they weren't going to get a ticket. The one thing we could not figure out is how the dog ever got out of the house in the first place.
If I had to think about it, it was probably like a cracked door when they left. Right?
That's what I was thinking.
I've got a similar problem in my neighborhood where there's a dog, but it's like a regular occurrence that said dog is loose.
All the time?
And just running in the neighborhood. Yeah.
That ain't right.
It ain't right.
What kind of dog is it?
It's a German Shepherd.
Oh, see, no.
Yeah.
No.
Regularly. I remember one night, it was like 10:30 at night. I'm getting ready to go to bed. There's this dog running around in my backyard because we don't have it fenced in. It's a nice neighborhood. You know, we don't have it fenced in. We don't have a dog, so
right.
We don't need a fence.
Facts.
And I know where the dog comes from.
Okay. Did you see the people run out and be calling the dog back though?
They were trying. Yeah, they were doing their darndest.
They did their job.
Yeah.
See, I'm not mad if I'm watching the people try to wrangle their pet in.
Mm-hmm.
That's normal.
Right.
That's happened.
Yeah.
You know, because I get it. The dog's like, hey, freedom. I'm going to go kick it a little bit. I got to go sniff some new stuff, bro.
Sure.
You know, I'm not just going to come home right away. Like, you're going to have to run a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, I totally get it. But it's when there is nobody trying to find them, then it's like, how far away did you come from?
Right. I've run into that a couple times. One time I did call the police on a dog.
Yeah.
Because it was running actually over on Evans at work. And I was trying to leave, actually. But this dog was running in the road. and then they found it. The owner found it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's good.
Then it was all good eventually. But yeah, that can be dangerous for everyone involved.
Well, yeah. And here's my other thing. I don't want nothing to happen to no dogs.
Right. No
You
dogs,
know,
no
like,
cars, nothing.
right. No dog. Right. Because that's the other thing. I have been privy here on Otter Street also of a person hitting a dog that got loose.
Yeah.
And that, I can't tell you actually how traumatizing that actually is.
Mm-hmm.
Like to watch a dog get hit or a pet get hit. Like that hurts.
Yeah. I was about 5 years old over on South Park Ave. We were living over there at the time. And I'll never forget the tires screeching, right? And our dog Bailey, that was it, you know?
You've lived through this.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, that's tragic.
Yeah.
Okay. Enough of what in the world is going on with.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, all right, let me just give a big shout out to Gwen, the dog whisperer, Funk. Or actually not Funk anymore, but we appreciate you because only Gwen. And not only that, to have to be like, all right, I'm just going to open the door and let him back in. Like, that's
Genius.
it is genius. I wouldn't have done it, but genius. I'm going to give it genius. Okay. So the next segment is called 21 Questions. There aren't 21 questions, but there are some really good questions. And these are just to dig in a little bit. Get to know how people think and how they feel about things. And yeah, I just think these are powerful questions. Once again, trying to help us get to know each other better. Mm-hmm. And so, first question, Trevor, is what are you grateful for?
I mean, this could turn into 21 answers easily as far as gratitude. And that's something I try and focus on a regular basis.
Let's go.
I have a lot of gratitude for a lot of things, you know. Being given, like I said, a second chance at life really has shifted my perspective to what gratitude means. And scientifically, like, there's a lot to be said about gratitude and practicing gratitude and like keeping that at the forefront of your mind. So I have two beautiful daughters, twin girls, who are 6. I'm super grateful for them.
Bruh.
I'm grateful for the work that I get to do on a regular basis, to help people. I'm grateful for my family who never gave up on me. I'm grateful to have a home because that was something that I didn't have prior to getting into recovery, a vehicle. I'm grateful for real friends today. People that actually care. Something I didn't have before, right? So gratitude is one of those things. I'm grateful for the second chance at life that I've been given because it's been powerful. I'm grateful for the opportunities that I have to serve others in a volunteer capacity. I'm grateful for the semblance of balance that I have is what I'll say. And it's there. It might not look like somebody else's, but I think it's there, and I think it gets better. And I'm grateful that I remain teachable today too. I don't have to know all the answers. I don't have to always be right. And I'm grateful for grace. You know, the grace that I can forgive myself for things that happened in the past. I can forgive others, and that others are forgiven for what they've done too. You know, like it's all about being able to move forward. I don't have to hold grudges today. It's just not something I like to hold on to anymore, that negativity, you know? So grateful to have a new way of living also through recovery. It's been really great.
What motivates you?
I feel like I have a lot of motivation just to help people. That's something that I'm really passionate about in many different capacities. But really the fact that on any given day that I have the ability to impact somebody's life just by being there to listen sometimes. Sometimes it might be very literally, like providing CPR to somebody, right? And it's literally saving their life, or just being there to listen and like talk and share about how my experience helped me get out of the darkness that I was in.
What grounds you?
The breath. Breathing grounds me a lot. And just being able to slow down. I try to do a lot of meditation. That grounds me. I try and start my day slower up here, in my mind. And that helps ground me, focus on gratitude, and realize that most things aren't that serious. It's all good,
What does success look like to you?
It's a really good question. What is success? So in my work, in my full-time job, we have to try and define success sometimes, and defining success in recovery can be a really difficult thing to do. And we've talked about that for years. So I've been involved in solutions. I started volunteering there about 8 years ago now. And from that volunteer capacity, moving into a staff capacity, there's always that question, because as a nonprofit, we rely heavily on external funding sources, doing fundraising, grant writing, all that kind of stuff. And people want to know, what does success look like? So there's very loosely defined success. And then there's anecdotal success that I get to talk about on a regular basis, is seeing people coming at their lowest, and now they have everything that they want in life and more, right? They have their kids back. They have a full-time job. They got early on for me, it was I got my license back, I got a vehicle, those types of things. So success for me, if I had to, put it in a box, I would say it's being able to be better than I was yesterday, or just getting better than I was yesterday, being able to focus on that.
What irritates you?
Gosh. Besides the carts in the parking lots.
Fair.
And that doesn't really even irritate me. It's just it makes me think a little bit. It's hard to say, because I really try to not let things bother me.
No pet peeves?
I really got to think on that.
You don't get angry when somebody puts the toilet paper roll on the wrong, facing the wrong direction? No, I'm just playing.
That is quite a controversial topic, actually.
It is.
Which way does it go? And don't get me wrong, there is a right way for me, but it also doesn't irritate me to a considerable extent. And if it's placed the other way, maybe I just have to change it, or maybe not. I don't know.
You've really worked on this.
I have. I've worked on a lot of things, and that's kind of one of those things. And I'm trying to think of all right, what? There is one thing, but I don't even want to say it.
Oh,
because it's pretty I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if I should.
Well, I'll leave it to you.
Yeah, but it's along the same lines, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's fair.
So there's some things that I'm still working on, but it's it's people specific, so I should just leave it there.
Yeah, let's say it's just people specific, and we just gonna drop that.
Yeah,
that's fair.
Okay.
What scares you?
Fear is another one of those things that I've worked on, and I think you can get into the high level or the phobia type fears, but I get scared of the disease of addiction for people. That's one of those things where it's man, I really want to help pull somebody out of this. And sometimes it's just there. Right. And that can be a really scary thing, because sometimes people don't get out of that. And I get really scared for them, because there's one way out of it.
You're watching people, and I think it would be scary in the work that you do. and I don't know this, but it's just my assumption, to watch people who aren't ready to get better.
Mm-hmm.
And like, that they're going to go do something dangerous or unhealthy or potentially deadly.
Right. And there's nothing you can do about it. And like, I know that and I can accept that. And I've had to face that with my own family, even within my family.
Yeah.
And that never gets easier. And like, how do you work through that with other people's families, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's a scary thing. And so that is probably one of the biggest things that scare me today. You know, as an EMS provider, like there's a list of things that you do to, like, if somebody's dying, you try and save their life, right? And like, if you do everything that you can do, you did everything you can do. So sometimes I try and translate that into the work that I do on the other side. Like, if I did everything that I can do, then I did everything I could do. And it doesn't make the situation easier if there's an unfavorable outcome, but we did what we could do.
Yeah. That's real. What recharges your soul?
Downtime is one piece of what recharges my soul. And I recently went on like this retreat, and that was super recharging, because sometimes I'm around people all the time, for the different things that I have to do. So sometimes it's just like ducking out, and like that can be super recharging. And then like giving back on the other side of that is like, that is something that recharges my soul. Like, how can I be helpful today? Who can I help? How can I help them? What can I do? That's super recharging.
How do you define love?
Love is everything. I'm a big believer of like the interconnectivity of everything, right? And I think there's different definitions of love, and like people look at love differently, but really it's like, it's everything. And the way we show that to people can be so impactful unconditionally, because that connection piece is like sometimes what saves someone's life or pulls them back. I'm not here to judge you. I'm not here to hate on you for whatever's going on. I'm just here to show you some love, and regardless of what's going on. This might be like the 50th time that we've come out this month to come pick you up off the ground, right? Like, maybe you continue to fall, and maybe that could be irritating, right? In that moment. But there's ways that we can just show love to each other that makes a world of difference versus treating somebody unkindly.
Let me just add this, since this is going a little bit off script, but because I think this is one of those conversations where I think there's a lot of people who are dealing with people who have addictions, right? And I don't think they're necessarily talking about it outside of certain circles in the family, if they're even talking about it with the whole family, right?
Right.
It's all who you trust or who you want to know. I'm embarrassed about this. I don't know. Like, I just, we had a scenario not that long ago where it's suspected that someone may have OD'd
Mm-hmm.
on our block. and they, from what we heard, rumor is like that those parents told people that it was pneumonia.
Mm-hmm.
And so that just made me pause and think about it. Like, that's got to be, like, for those family members who are trying to be supportive or have to deal with it or stuff like that, like, that's hard. So what could you share with families who have loved ones who may be going through that? Whatever it is it things to think about, things to consider, things. What kind of helpful guidance could you give them?
I start out by saying, like, it's okay. And it might not feel okay, but it's okay. Like, the disease of addiction is so isolating, and it's not only isolating for the person going through it, it's isolating for the family that might have to hold on to that. And that makes it really tough. And they're not alone.
Explain that.
Because there's so much shame and stigma associated with having to hold on to that. And I can speak from my own experience, like, when you are putting your family in those positions, it makes it really, really difficult for them to want to continue to show you compassion. And then it's a family thing, right? And especially if I'm holding on to that, it makes it really, really difficult. So you're not alone as that family member, and you're not alone as the person suffering. Everybody's suffering, I should say, right? But, like, the person that is suffering from the addiction and the family, like, there is support for you. And that's where I go, like, there's a considerable amount of support in the community, especially, like, Oshkosh. We have a very supportive community of family members that have been through it, of people themselves that have been through it. There's a lot of professionals in the area, and just, like, you don't have to suffer. You don't have to suffer in silence. Like, you can talk about these things, and you can share these things with people that have been through the exact same thing. And thankfully, the shame and stigma associated with it has, I don't know. When I talk to people, sometimes I talk to rooms of people, and I ask the question, like, who in here knows somebody who struggles with substance use? And almost every time, it's every single person in the room raises their hand. So
Wow.
does it have to be, like, does it have to be something that separates us, or how do we come together from that? So to answer your question, like, I just tell people, like, there is hope, for one, and hopefully we can get there. And there's, like, a fair amount of work that we have to do as people who love people with addiction to help free us from that, because there's so much that we can't do. We can't make anyone get it.
What's one of the biggest myths that people have about addiction?
That it's a choice.
That might be the fastest answer you gave.
Well, so, and that's something that we talk about regularly. It's like, I promise you, I didn't wake up one day and choose to lose everything and to rob my family blind and to make decisions that put me in very dangerous situations. Like, I didn't wake up one day and just make that decision. And there's something that happens in the brain that we call, like, the manifestation of an allergy. Like, so there's people that react differently to substances, and that's what happens with addiction. Like, There's people that can have, like normal people can have a beer or a glass of wine with dinner. And that's okay. They can do that. And it's not going to ruin their life. And sometimes they can even have half a glass of wine with dinner. And then they're like, well, I'm not going to finish that. And they dump it out. And then there's people on the other side of the spectrum where it's like, I'm going to finish that. And then I'm going to finish the box. And then I'm going to go down the street and close down the bar and go until I can't stop. And it's not because they make that choice that they want to do that. It's that once they take that substance, there's a compulsion and an obsession that takes over, and there's no control there anymore. And they just keep going.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
I'm glad we're getting a chance to actually talk about this.
Yeah.
I think it's rare to be able to have a conversation with an individual who's been through it and to ask these kinds of questions where, I think we all get a little gun shy. I think we all don't want to offend anyone.
For sure.
And to be able to just to talk about it openly and vulnerably and with what feels like a huge amount of transparency, I think this is powerful.
I like to be an open book about anything in my journey and how I got here. Because I found that complete transparency has gotten me to where I am today for the most part, from a career perspective, any job that I've ever interviewed for is like, I don't know. There's people that I see on one side where it's like there's a lot of shame associated with the past, and like I'm just very matter of fact. Like this is what I went through. And this is where I'm at today, Yeah. And that's okay. Like, that's okay, and you can accept that. Or if you don't, and like that, you don't jive with that, like that's okay too. Like, then that's not where I'm supposed to be,
Right. Right. That's it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Next segment. The next segment is called Word Association. This is where I say a word to you, and you tell me what comes to your mind. And there's one word we always start off with. It's the unifying word. It's the word that bonds us all. It's the word that brings us all together. And that word is food.
Food. I like food.
Yes.
If you couldn't tell. So you just want one word?
No.
Okay.
You just whatever comes to mind. Where do you go when I say food?
It's just that I love food, Food is life. It's where we make connections, right? It's powerful. When I think about a favorite type of food, most foods, but there are some foods that I won't eat.
I want to know both. Let's go favorites, and let's go. We're not going to eat that.
Yeah. I really am a big fan of Italian food. So your pastas, comfort food. I was devastated when Benvenuto's closed here in Oshkosh.
Oh, I used to like Benvenuto's, that joint.
Bruh.
That was a good joint.
Yes. But I will tell you, so my daughters live with their mom during the week down in Beaver Dam, and there's a Benvenuto's down there.
Mm.
Yeah. So it's never too far away. I'm down there every week picking them up. So on occasion, we'll make a stop.
Have a little Benvenuto's.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Italian nachos, just they smack.
There's a few things. There was this mushroom. It had something to do with the mushroom. You didn't like the mushroom thing with
That's one of those things.
That's one of those things.
Yeah.
That's one of the things you don't like.
Mushrooms.
You can't do it.
Uh-uh.
It was like a portobello mushroom filled with bacon, and I don't remember everything in it, but that thing was fab to me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Next word. Words. Cocktail or beer.
I don't have much of an opinion on those things today.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I would maybe associate like mocktail, which I've never had. Actually, no, I take that back. I think I had a mocktail once, and that's okay.
They're tasty, actually.
Yeah. So when we think about like planning events, especially, so this has been like a big thing in Oshkosh, like in Wisconsin, just in general, right? Because we are prevalent alcohol society.
We do a little drinking around these parts.
We do.
Just a little bit.
A little bit. We're just, there's studies that show, I don't know, maybe they're not studies, maybe it's just articles. I don't know if they're studies or not.
I don't know. There's probably there's some type of research that's been done.
Yeah, that says that we're some of the drunkest cities in the U.S. But
I like to call that partying. We party a little harder than others.
I would agree with that sentiment. Yep. I agreed with that sentiment for a long time. So, the thing is, how do you foster an environment outside of that, where folks can go? So that's part of what we do at Solutions, at the community center, and just in general, like creating events where there isn't alcohol at. And like having a safe place for people to go that exists, and that it's like a holiday thing or like a party or whatever, whatever it is, like that option at least exists. So, yeah.
Shop local.
Shop local. Shop locally, right?
Well, word association. It's whatever you think.
Yeah. Small businesses support it. That's what
Do you have any favorites? I already know you don't like going to stores.
That's the thing.
That was clarified earlier.
Yeah, I don't like shopping. I don't like going out and doing that. So unfortunately, that means I do support some options that allow me to not go into stores. But I also, from like a small business perspective, or like, not going to chain things. So like, supporting local restaurants, supporting whatever, that's kind of what that means to me. If that's, supporting a smaller store versus, a locally owned store versus big corporate, I would attempt to do that if I can.
Okay. One more word, and it's not on the list. Diversity.
So that's something that we get to focus on. When you're in organizational leadership, right, you focus on like diversity and what that means to you. So I think there's negative connotations that go along with that, or positive, depending on how you look at it. I choose on, and I guess I don't know if these go hand in hand, but I think it's just like inclusivity of everyone in all things. And that's kind of what I like. My go-to is like, it's not being, it's not separating ourselves from, it's embracing all. And that's what I try and do just in my daily life, right? Is be inclusive and accepting of all things, and being willing to challenge myself sometimes too, to think outside the box or go outside the norm.
Thank you. Okay. Now we are moving on to the next segment. The next segment is called the Kosh Hidden Gems. What the Kosh Hidden Gems is, it's an opportunity to share a hidden gem in the Kosh or the surrounding Fox Cities region. It could be something everyone knows about, but maybe there's this thing about it that people don't know, or maybe it's something you don't think a lot of people know about, or maybe it's just the hidden gem for you. What do you have?
I don't know. My brain defaults to, and I'm thankful that you include Fox Cities in that, because it's difficult for me to pin down something in Oshkosh.
Cool. Let's go. We can go outside of it.
Yeah. So do you know of Mims?
What is...
It's a little hole in the wall in Menasha. It's like a burger joint.
I don't know. I feel like I've heard about Mims, but I'm pretty sure I've never been to Mims.
Yeah, it's an experience. So I went there with one of my staff one time. And
Break that down.
I've never been there. And it used to be owned by somebody, and then it was for sale. And then I guess, like, I heard that there was an opportunity for one of my friends to own it, and they turned that down. And then, so now but it still exists. It's still the same really great, greasy, like, food that it is. So, but it, like, you gotta, I don't know how to explain it. You gotta go there and just have some of their food.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's it. Like, you can't even put it into words.
I was, like, pleasantly surprised. I've never had a better burger in my life, and I'm like, wow.
How do you spell Mims?
Mihms, I think.
Okay.
It's in Menasha, and so it's right off of, like, Taco up there, so if you're like me and don't like traffic as much, I just love taking the Lake Road anywhere. You just take County A up, you keep going straight until you get to Menasha, and then you, like, turn onto Main Street or whatever, and it's right up over there.
Is there any other things they do besides the burgers?
Yeah, they do a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the burgers are fire.
They are. Yeah.
Okay.
They got a lot of different stuff. Shakes, whatever.
Mm.
It's kind of one of those classic, like, you got your burgers and shakes and fries and all the things.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm about that life. That sounds like an adventure. Mims.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, check it out.
Kosh listeners, if anyone's been to Mims, I need some more data. I need some more information about this for the field trip, because I'm thinking I need to go make a field trip about this. You got me fascinated because I'm watching you, and here's how you know when something's good. When they say the name of something and they can't say it without smiling. They say the name and then they smile, and then they say the name again and the smile got bigger, because somewhere in there they started visualizing whatever it was. Whatever that burger was about, that was a tasty burger.
And maybe it was just the experience
Of being at Mims
as a whole.
Okay.
Yeah. It was just, and I don't go there very often, and that's probably the other thing too, because it's Menasha. It's a hop, skip, and a jump away from, the stomping grounds here. So,
Right.
it's not and I try and, like, eat healthier if I can. So that's not necessary. That's, like, when I think about eating healthier, like, that's not it.
That's not meat in the bar.
No. No. Maybe it could.
All right, fair enough.
But if I'm going, I'm probably getting a greasy burger. I'm not going to lie.
Okay, that's fair. Okay, we're going to take a small commercial break.
Did you know there are children in the Fox Valley in need of hearing aids, but their parents struggle to provide them because of lack of insurance or high copays? I am Juliette Sturkins, audiologist and board member of Here in the Fox Cities, and proud that this small local nonprofit organization has helped fund hearing aids for some 30 kids. Your donation would help more children hear. Visit hereinthefoxcities.org to learn more and to see their smiles. Every child deserves to hear.
Okay, we're back. And now it is time. This has become my new favorite segment of the Kosh, and I'm going to find some background sounds for this, because I feel like this segment warrants some type of intro music. It needs intro music for it, but it is called Story Time. And what Story Time is, it's an opportunity for our guests to tell us a story. Not about anything in specific, whatever story they wish to share with us. So, Trevor, what do you got?
I got lots of stories. I don't even know what to pick, where to go.
Yeah. Pick one that you like to tell. That's what I would say.
Yeah.
There's always those, it's just got to be the one that it's that story.
Mm-hmm. You've got me really reminiscent just being down in this part of town. So it's, and not that I live very far away, I'm over, I don't even know what neighborhood, we technically are. What are you? What is this?
I don't know. It's an official, I feel like we're the official historic something or another. Either that or that's Washington. I don't know.
Yeah, there's like Washington. I don't know. There's Menominee South, which I know my job is a part. We're in that with a few different houses.
We're definitely not that. Okay. We're not that far over.
No.
Yeah,
okay.
We're considered something else.
Okay. Well, yeah. So anyways, but so I spent a lot of time on this street growing up, literally on Otter. So in the 800 block up there, that was where I spent a lot of time growing up, and, before and after my discovery of my, the issues that I had. I love this neighborhood, and I think back to just some of the stuff we did growing up, and there was a lot of kids, there's a lot of people my age. We were running around. We got this little alley up over here, and I don't know if that goes all the way through over there on that side. No, I didn't think so.
No, because my house is the end of the alley.
Okay.
So, the alley ends directly across the street at that house too.
Yeah.
So these are really long blocks.
Yeah.
But the alley only goes halfway through.
Yeah.
Which means we get all those people that think that they're going to go down the alley from the gas station, and then they find out, oh, no, man.
They don't.
No, that's the end of that. Then they got to watch it. They got to watch my wife wave her fist at them out the window as they cut through the yard.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah.
So, I spent a lot of time here babysitting growing up. And I want to try and relate a story because I'm over here. But I'll even go further, maybe down into the 500 block of Otter. Because when I was growing up, we were avid churchgoers. We went down to St. John's here in Oshkosh, and there was a woman that lived at the end of the street right before the railroad tracks. She was everybody's Grandma Jean. That was who she was. And she was a very loving, giving individual. And she was associated with the kids program over there, but was always just going out and doing things in the community. So spending time with her and being a part of what she was doing was always really fun, really interesting, just giving back at food pantries, getting involved. And I think that helps set the stage a lot for me being in this next chapter of my life here and wanting to give back, because I got a lot of fulfillment from it back then too, and I still do to this day. And that's something, service, giving back, those are some things that have been ingrained in me from a very young age. So I don't know. That's not really a story, but it's something I'm reminiscing on.
That's fair.
I can't really think of another story to tell, but I really wanted to try and relate something back to this area being down here, because I like it down here. I do.
Oh, yeah.
I've considered buying a house over here many times.
Oh, no, this is mine. That's why I don't move.
Mm-hmm.
There's something, once again, something fantastic about the neighborhood. The people are just good. And it's very working class, which to me, when I say working class, it means that people are busy enough to mind their own business.
Correct.
Which I love that.
Yes.
I'll be the first to say, as one of the few, probably the only black, well, I'm not anymore. I used to be when we first bought the house, but only black homeowners on the block or in the region even. what I didn't want was some of the horror stories I hear about other spots located around where your neighbors are so nosy.
Mm-hmm.
They got Gladys.
Yeah.
Gladys is all up in it, and Gladys
Right.
ain't got nothing better to do. Gladys is retired. Gladys
Right.
could tell you everything, and she takes notes in the window.
Right.
And I don't need Gladys.
No, Gladys is not a part of my neighborhood. I don't think either, at least in my direct neighborhood, because we're pretty working class over there too.
Hey,
So that's nice.
I know I've literally had stories of individuals who live in other neighborhoods, and I'm not going to call out no neighborhoods, but let's just say they're not on this side of town.
Right. Right.
Where the neighbor is literally just snitching, calling the cops about everything.
Oh yeah.
Like everything.
Yeah.
Like whatever they could think of. Like this. There's a story I have, without giving up too much, that there's a neighbor who was literally calling the cops on the cops that lived in the neighborhood because they didn't think that they should be home at the time that they were home. And that was lunch.
Right. Yeah. There's a cop car in our neighborhood. I live there, right?
Well, it's not that the neighbor didn't know who the cop was.
Right. Yeah.
The neighbor is sitting there snitching, talking about, well, I don't think they're supposed to be home right now.
Right. They should be working, right?
They should be working. Why are they here? How are my taxpayer dollars getting spent?
Oh, let's not go there.
Because
I could go there.
Look, I went there. I'm just saying, and I'm not even exaggerating about that. That's something I literally know that went down, and I'm just thinking, you really got to be on some real different kind of stuff as a neighbor to call the cops on a cop,
right,
at lunchtime.
Right. Yeah, that's impressive.
That's next level Gladys.
It is, yeah, and they exist everywhere in every community.
Facts.
So, yeah,
I haven't ran into Gladys on Otter though.
No Gladys on it. That's good to know. I'll be in the market soon, I'm sure.
Well, I'm not saying that there's not a Gladys, but Gladys ain't called on me, so I'm good with that.
She ain't in the immediate vicinity, is what you're saying. She's not calling like, "Hey, this guy's got people coming over on Saturday morning for like an hour and a half, and then leaving. What's going on there?"
Yeah, facts.
Yeah,
facts.
Right.
Yeah. No, I haven't had the police roll up on me talking about, you keep having these random cars come over on Saturday and Sunday mornings.
Right.
What's going on?
Yeah.
Yeah, no problems.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Actually, what I've learned about neighborhoods is the key is your dog is everything. Because they may not know you, but they know your dog.
They know how your dog acts.
Well, they know everything about your dog.
Right.
And then what's even funnier is when you meet your neighbors and they have dogs, or if you meet neighbors who love dogs, they never ask you your name. They just ask you your dog's name.
Right.
So then you are identified by your dog.
Oh, yeah.
Don't know the other people's name though. But you know the dog's name.
Okay.
So when you run into them, you say hello to the dog.
Yeah.
And you throw a hand up to them.
Right.
And you keep it moving.
Yeah, that's it.
But you don't say hi like to the person. I'm just saying it's on some different. This is what I have learned in dog ownership. Okay. That is the end of story time, and we are moving into that part of the show. Every time. Love it every single time. It is time for Topic of the Week. Topic of the Week is chosen by our guest 99.9% of the time, and this week is no different. So, Trevor, what's our Topic of the Week?
That's a good question. I've been thinking about this one.
Okay.
Since I got here.
Since you got here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gosh, listeners, okay, so Kosh listeners, you know what I do. If you don't know, if you're going to be a guest, what I do is there's a whole thing I do, and I prep, and then I send you an outline, and then when I first initially give an invite, Or if there's an ask, I still send an invite, and I send this thing, and I say, hey, you should listen to some episodes so you can get the vibe of the show and stuff like that. And, that can happen. Sometimes it doesn't happen. And Trevor's riding by the seat of his pants.
Mm-hmm.
So we're rolling.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. That's really good. So if I remember right, this is just any topic.
It's your topic.
It's my topic. It's the holiday season. I will say that.
Facts.
And I actually did have to step foot in a retail store a couple days ago. There was a lot going on in there.
Is this the topic? Are we going to talk about holiday shopping?
We might, because I want to talk about how my life has transformed from being that person that goes shopping tomorrow, on Christmas Eve, where like this year I was actually more prepared.
Let's go. I think that's your topic of the week.
I think it came up because here we are, right? And there's a big like Santa hat right behind you.
Oh yeah, I'm about that life.
I see it.
Yeah,
I like it.
Yeah, well, somebody. It's not me because I'm the Grinch.
Okay.
But it's my wife.
Okay.
And let's be honest, in the war of Christmas, the Grinch does not beat Santa. Just doesn't happen.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So I think it's really been an interesting transition for me to make more time. And I think online shopping has made that substantially easier to be more prepared. But I hate wrapping presents. I want to put that out there.
Okay.
I don't like doing that. I'm not really good at it. Usually they turn out awfully, if I'm being honest. And so, like, the combination of not liking to wrap presents along with doing all the shopping, the day before Christmas was a really bad combo, which I learned.
That is a bad combo. Because, yeah, that's just like the double doozy.
Yeah.
And I, as somebody who was in retail for a number of years, you were my favorite shopper. You know why?
Tell me why.
Because I could sell you anything.
Anything. Whatever's left.
Right. You didn't even care. You didn't care.
No.
You weren't prepared. It was like, I think I need this. Buy this one.
Yeah.
Do I need? Yes. You
need
need
it.
all of that. All the best printer in the world. You need that one right there. The one with the magical whatever. Yeah. You're getting, that's the one. Hey, and guess what? I can give you 10% off.
Right. Wow.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
They're going to love this. They're going to love it because I just sold you the very top of the line thing that I could because you ain't had no time to research and you're just rushing in here.
Right.
Yeah,
And that's what's left usually.
Yeah, facts, right? Because the other stuff that would have been like really high quality but was let's say it was on sale, they're gone.
Mm-hmm.
Black Friday took care of them.
Oh, Black Friday. Yeah. It's, I guess we can go along the same line. Maybe the topic is holiday shopping here. And so when I think about Black Friday and like what that used to mean for me versus what it means now and how much that's changed.
Oh, let's talk about it because
Unbelievable.
I've got experiences.
Cyber Monday, Black Friday. I just remember so when I was younger, I was probably, when I was turning like 18 or whatever, I would go out to Best Buy at like 11 o'clock on Thanksgiving and camp out overnight.
You were that dude.
For that TV.
You were that dude.
I was that dude for 1 year. And I said, that's enough. I'll never experience that again.
I giggled at people who did it.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was there. I'm not saying that I wasn't about that life because I was me and my wife were what I would call professional Black Friday shoppers.
Okay.
Like, if you really knew the game, you knew the game.
Yeah.
And what the game is, first of all, Thanksgiving, you went out and you bought like 2-3 papers with all the ads.
Yep.
And you got your game plan.
Mm-hmm.
and you figured out who opened at 3 a.m. or midnight, because there was some years where some joints were opening at midnight. So like used to be like you could go to like Old Navy at the outlet mall and they would open like at midnight.
Yeah.
So then you had your game plan. I'm gonna go here, grab this. I'm gonna go here, I'm gonna grab these, right? And we used to go hard. It was the JC Penney's used to be the 3 a.m.
Sure.
Shopko was about a 4.
Okay.
Best Buy was about a 5, right? Target was a 5. Right? So you just had to have everything lined up and figured out what was the priority of gift, and then you go out there in the crazy, and it was crazy.
It literally was crazy, and is crazy still. Some people still choose to live like that.
I didn't even think stores open like that anymore.
And that's the thing. That's been the shift, right? But I think this was the first year where they kind of really went back to that. I worked in dispatch on Black Friday, and it was busy by the mall.
Oh.
It was busy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, but it's really been a great thing to experience the ability to do that online now. Because you don't have to wait. You don't have to wait in line for the price break. It's already there.
Well, I feel like they changed the whole game.
They did.
Because, to be honest, Black Friday isn't a day anymore. Black Friday goes on for its Black Friday week, might be Black Friday 2 weeks, might be Black Friday month.
Correct.
And so, like, to me, just start when they put if they call it Black Friday and that's the price, snatch it up. Unless it's like a TV.
Yeah.
Because TVs are going to be, my two things are TVs and cell phones.
Yep.
You will not find those cheaper than on Black Friday.
Right. And that's been a game changer, I would say. But yeah, it's changed so much, and I don't know if I even want to say the C word, the COVID word, but like since then, right? Like it's just been weird. And I think for a lot of times for the better, some retailers have really like, oh, we don't actually need to be open 24 hours.
I just don't think there's the workers to manage that level of chaos.
And that.
So they had to rethink that strategy.
Which I like.
Oh, yeah.
For them.
Yeah.
For the workers, really.
I like it for everybody involved.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because let me tell you, Black Friday used to be the shopping gladiators.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that was not for the weak.
No, and it showed with the police calls that occurred in some of them. I remember thinking back to like the YouTube videos, right, where it's like grandma takes out 4 folks for a TV, or whatever. Like,
I don't even think the police like to go to those. I think that's one of those scenarios where they kind of sit back and they watch it until it's over.
Yeah, right.
Let all of the wildness go through, and then we'll come in and swoop in at the end and
chaos.
Right, because it's wild stuff, especially back in the day.
Yeah,
that's fair. So, are you done Christmas shopping this year?
Am I done Christmas? Yeah, I am. Yep. I'm as done as I'm gonna be, I think. And online shopping had a lot to do with that, thankfully.
Okay.
Yeah, and that was really nice. So I don't think there's probably like a little thing here or there that I could do. I take that back. I'm not done because I got to get something for gift exchange.
Oh, you can't screw that up.
No, not at all. It's, so our family picks out a topic, and I think warm is the topic.
Did you say warm?
Warm. Yeah. So I've got so many different areas I could go in with that. Quick Trip's probably got some hand warmers.
I would go with a really good hot sauce.
Ooh, that's thinking outside the box because I'm thinking for like this time of year, but that's even better.
Well, I promise you this. if it's some of Timber's hot sauce, you will be warm when you're done.
And maybe for the considerable future, it sounds like.
It's pretty, we make homemade hot sauce. It's serious business.
All right.
About that life.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll talk after this. Maybe
fine.
I got your Christmas gift.
All right.
Yeah, that might be, you take that to the gift exchange.
That's a game changer.
And bless somebody with that. And I do not, I will not be responsible for the outcomes.
Me neither.
Is it a random gift exchange?
It's a very interesting gift exchange. So we play this game where you get cards. My mom has this all just thought out, but you get a card, and then that determines like what order you get to pick. So the gift exchange is it sits there, and then you get to choose the gift like based on your card level, and then like the next person can either choose to take your gift.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Or pick a gift from the pile.
Oh, yeah.
And it just goes on, until the last.
To the last gift.
Yeah, which is it's interesting. It's interesting.
No, I did. My wife's family does that, and it is interesting. Okay, is there a dollar amount associated with the gift?
It's like $20.
Gotta be $20.
Yeah.
Okay.
We can do that.
Yeah, no doubt. Okay. All right. Is there anything left? Anything else you would like to say about your topic of the week?
I don't think so. Are you done with your shopping?
Oh yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay.
I get everything done on Black Friday.
Yeah.
Like, I actually start in October because here, if you really watch how the trends work, so here's what really happens. Their stores prep to clear out space for Black Friday-ish, right? Mm-hmm. So starting in October, they will have better deals than Black Friday.
Wow.
So depending on what you shop for, and I'm usually shopping for like some type of electronics and other cool things like that, right? Yep. So you can go and start in October and snag really great deals because they're clearing space for Christmas season. So that's what I do. I start shopping in October, and then whatever I don't do in October, I snag on Black Friday. And in this case, I shop the week of or the 2 weeks because I think Black Friday deals kind of stretched throughout November, depending on what the things were. And I really did the research on this because I dig into the prices. Yeah. And the prices were legit. And I was like, okay, then I'm going to start buying my Black Friday stuff now. But there was one thing I held out for actual Black Friday day, and that was a television for my daughter. Okay. Because I knew, and not that they didn't have other good deals, and they called them Black Friday TV deals. Yeah. Could not beat the day of Black Friday TV deal.
Sure. Yeah.
So that's what I did. So no, I'm good.
Okay.
But me and my wife are in this place where neither one of us want things.
Right.
We don't want more things.
No.
So that makes it hard right now.
Yeah.
My mom always does an excellent job with gift giving. Shout out to Mom and Pop.
Mm-hmm.
Love you. They do experiences. So they'll buy you tickets to whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So concert shows, whatever. But they're all about, go make a memory, go have an experience. And I've really taken that to heart. And I would like to do more of that myself.
I have too. And my mom's the same way, she always asks me the question, right? Like, what do you remember getting when you were 8 years old for Christmas? Nothing.
Oh, I actually remember a lot.
Yeah. And there are some things that I remember, some big gifts that I wanted. I remember maybe date myself a little bit, but I wanted a PDA back in the day, Yeah.
Palm.
Yeah. Oh gosh, crazy to think about technology today, but yeah, some of those big gifts, right, that I wanted. And then we talk about experiences though, and how much more One, that brings us all together, right? When we're having experiences with other people and that connection piece, and how much more memorable those things are.
True. Okay. Well, it's that time of the show. Thank you, Kosh listeners. Thank you for spending time with us. Thank you for giving us your minds and ears. Thank you for listening to this week's guest and being interested in what there was to share. I think this week was fascinating because we really covered some stuff that I don't think you often get an opportunity to have conversation with somebody with in a very authentic and a very honest and a very vulnerable way. And I can't say thank you enough for Trevor for being part of this conversation and sharing with us. Once again, you know what I'm going to say. We are a work in progress. So please don't hesitate. Let us know how we can improve the Kosh podcast. Or if you would like to be a guest, and we would love to have you as a guest. If you've got something to say, something to share, something you want us to know about, or maybe you just want to talk to your fellow community members, please feel free to reach out to us at askthekosh@gmail.com. Once again, that is askthekosh@gmail.com. And then, Kosh listeners, I have one more ask of you, and that is please take the time while you're listening to the Kosh to hit the subscribe button. Hit the subscribe button or leave us a review. What this does is it improves our analytics, and the analytics is what helps the Kosh get in front of more ears and more eyes. We think we have something pretty special here for our community, and we think there's a lot of other people who would really appreciate knowing about the Kosh. All right. So now that we've got that handled, we are moving on to it is shout out time. Trevor, who would you like to shout out?
Well, shout out to Mom. I don't know if she'll ever hear this, but if I send it to her, she might.
She
might. And just shout out to all of the amazing first responders that we have in our communities that do work to keep us safe and do the deal, and help people. Shout out to my staff at Solutions. They're rock stars. Shout out to my friends at the shelter, Day by Day Shelter, and anyone that works in the public sector. It can be hard. It can be a hard field to work in. So just really grateful for all of them.
I agree. And I agree with you. Public sector is no joke. And particularly this time of year, for those who've got to work when the rest of us don't have to work, I just want to send a special thank you for that. So big shout out right there. I want to send a shout out to recently Madison 365 or Blueprint 365 has released their list. They do these lists of the most influential, and they focus in on different demographics across Wisconsin. And this week's list that they released was for the most influential African Americans in Wisconsin. I've been honored enough to make that list back in 2021, but there are some really cool people that made the list this year that I just want to send shout outs to, because they are people that are in our region and they're making a difference. So I want to send a shout out to my man, Dr. Robinson, Sean Robinson, Dr. Dyslexia Dude himself. I want to send a shout out to Chocolate Davis, to Dr. Brittany Bell, and to Charm Durr, and to any others who made this list. There was 51 individuals who made this list. And, when it happens, you know what? I almost forgot somebody. Let me send a shout out to Dr. Sam Coleman, also from our region, who made that list. It's a really cool list to be a part of, and it's nice to be appreciated and see the work that you're doing, that others see the work that you're doing, and the effects, how you're positively affecting our community with the work that you're doing. So just wanted to make sure we give an acknowledgement and a shout out to those individuals, particularly because those are the people from our region who made the list. Okay. And before I go, I just want to send a special shout out to my mom and my pop. Once again, happy holidays to you too. I'm going to come holler at y'all soon. For sure. All right. Now, we got one thing left to do in this episode. And Trevor, what that is you've got some choices. There are 3 choices. Option A, give us some parting words of wisdom. Option B, tell us what would your self today tell your 13-year-old self. Or option C, all of the above. You could do both.
Oh, gosh. Okay. Well, I got some words of wisdom, and it really ties into a lot of the stuff that we talked about earlier. And really, it's really simple. Just be kind. Those are my words of wisdom. Be kind to people. And you always hear it. It's cliche. Like, you never know what people are going through, but it's real talk, and the effect that you can have on somebody just by being kind is one that you may never understand what you did, but it's so much easier to just be kind.
Facts. I'm going to have to say that's facts. All right. Trevor, thanks for spending time with us.
Thanks for having me.
The Kosh.